I would like to start this review with a reflection on a statement by George Clason from The Richest Man in Babylon. George Clason says, "We are often stubborn when we are wrong, but change our minds quickly when we are right." And I regret to say that this is a perfect description of me as a trader to this point. I aim to change my ways. I am working on it, but I did not do it well today. So I did it well at first. We'll get into that. The Standard & Poor ETF hit all-time highs today as Biden was being inaugurated as the 46th President of the United States. Go Biden. So, without further ado, let's get into it. We were gapping up, and I saw this candle here. I mean, anytime we've been near all-time highs in the past, we've had a down day, a red, I guess not every time, but it's been pretty consistent. We open up at all-time highs and we pull back pretty hard. So I was expecting a pullback. Within these first couple minutes, I saw this upper wick, and at the time it seemed like high volume. I guess it still was relatively high volume. So I saw this upper wick and I made a call. I said, I think it's going down. And at the end of this candle, I bought a put. It turned against me. I got out right away. Good job me getting out right away. I would call this, yeah, we'll get into that. So then it comes up a little bit more and I notice that the volume is fading and I say, it's going to go down now. And it does. I was right, it did reverse, but not quite enough. It came back, or, it did reverse. I was right in that estimation. So I saw this volume declining. I said it's going to reverse, and then it did. But it managed to hold right here was the open. It held the open. It made a little push. You can see the upper wick on this candle. It was a high volume push, which really kind of validates the move, and I maybe should have thought of that, but I was thinking, wow, look at all this volume, and look at this tiny move. So I bought a put, and it went against me immediately, and I immediately cut, which was really super good. Well done, self. And then it broke to all-time highs, and I am noticing, let's see, I'm noticing the volume fade again, and this upper wick, and so I grabbed a put. It immediately went against me. I immediately got out. And in retrospect, rather than thinking that all of this volume, so all of this volume made for a breakout, and all of this volume confirmed the breakout. And I should have thought, golly, look at all this volume and it's a breakout, so maybe don't buy a put just yet. Anyway, it goes up and I notice up here these three upper wicks. I notice this gigantic volume push that doesn't get this anywhere. And it's over all-time highs, so I was thinking about buying a put, but I chickened out. That's This is a chickened out move. I chickened out and it fell back. It came back to the breakout level, and I said, so it came back to the breakout level, and as it was selling down, the selling volume was decreasing, and so I thought it was stopping volume, and I thought that we were in for a reversal or a continuation off of the breakout level. Um, and this was actually a lot lower volume at the time, but in the last couple seconds of that volume bar, there was a little bit of a push. So I was actually early on my thinking that it was going to reverse, but it did. I was correct. It came up here. It put in this beautiful morning star, couldn't get up to resistance, put in this morning star on high volume, and so I grabbed a put. Fine, I can grab a put. It makes sense. And it immediately went down, and I was feeling pretty smart, but it turns out I am not that smart. Well, okay, maybe I am smart, but I did something wrong, and I'll get to that. So this candle here, was a little push. It was kind of a hammer, but it was low volume, so I wasn't scared. And then it had this kind of hammer, which was okay. That's fine. But it had a higher low, which should have tipped me off. And then this candle, I wasn't scared in this candle because it was a small move on this massive volume. So I'm thinking that there's soakers on the sell side. And so it pushes, and then the next candle's a doji. I'm thinking I'm sitting pretty good, all the while ignoring this trend, which I put in after. We'll get back to that. And then it's got this shooting star on low volume. So again, I'm thinking I'm fine. Then we get this hammer. That's a bullish sign. And then the breakout on relatively low volume. It's a relatively low volume breakout. So I was being stubborn. I was like, no, it always goes down after it hits all-time highs. But I mean, so was every other bear in the world, apparently. And I think that this was very much a short squeeze. When I'm okay, so first of all, I should not have risked more than what I said I'm going to risk, which right now is $5 a trade until I can prove to myself that I can follow the damn rules. So I'm thinking I'm going to risk $5 a trade, or $5 on this trade. Well, right about here, I was down $5, and it was not so clear. It was not blatantly obvious that my thesis was broken, but there was this trend, and I was kind of aware of it. I was like, that's an ascending triangle forming right there. But I argued with myself. I debated the fact that it was so low volume and it was, choppy. And I talked myself out of cutting my loss. And I told myself, well, okay, I'm going to risk tomorrow's capital too, because my max daily loss is $25. So I was like, okay, I'm going to put tomorrow's capital on the line here as well. So if I lose $25, then I won't be able to play tomorrow. And I actually let that get out of hand. I should not have allowed that to even get that far. If my max daily loss is $25, then that means my max daily, I don't get like a credit with myself. And I mean, I hadn't established that with myself, but it's a rule, you know, if your max daily loss is $25, then you can't bet tomorrow's loss as well. And that's what I did, or tomorrow's capital risk, or I don't know how to say what I'm thinking, but I really broke the rules here. And so I'm thinking, okay, I'm risking tomorrow's capital, and it broke out, and I'm down $30, and I'm thinking I need to average down. I can recover this. And I'm lucky that, or maybe I'm not lucky, but I'm glad that allow I did not allow that into my trading. So there was a firm wall where there was a firm wall somewhere. Like, I wouldn't let myself average down. I wouldn't let myself turn this into a disaster. And I very well could have. I broke the rules, and that's not okay. And so anyway, I'm down $30, which is the $5 I was allowed to lose today, plus the $25 that I was allowed to lose tomorrow. And it breaks out. And it comes back down, and I could have got out for the $30 loss, which was, you know, the compromise that I had made with myself, and that's unfortunate. But I didn't even get out there. And at that point, I knew this is an ascending triangle breakout. It's come up here, and it's come back down to resistance. So old resistance becomes new support. So now we're going to go off to the races. So I called it in here. And I let myself feel the pain for another 20 minutes, and then I cut it. I cut it for a $50 loss, a $50 loss. So that means that I don't get to trade tomorrow, and I have $5 that I can risk on Friday, which is cool. That's the compromise that I made with myself, so I'm sticking to it. But tomorrow, I am still going to sit here in front of the computer and act as if I was trading. I'm still going to do my TA. I'm still going to do my calls. I'm still going to do my notations. I'm still going to act as if I was trading. But the only difference is that I don't actually get to trade. So so that's the price I pay. And then on Friday, you know, I'll let myself have one shot on Friday, $5. You know, better make it a good one. So that's where I'm at. And I was being mad at myself, but this is part of the learning experience. And that's why I'm only trading contracts on the SPY right now, because this is what I'm working on. And if this problem hadn't arisen, you know, then I'd have to work on it another time. So that is okay. So anyway, about the time that I got out, I went ahead and did the math and figured out where this was going to top out at. And I'm pretty proud of myself because I called almost the exact top of this leg of the breakout. So it gets up there and it put in that first red candle. I did not predict this red candle. It put in the first red candle and I said, okay, it's going down now. I would buy a put here. It went down, came back up. It had this really low volume push. And then it like messed around in here with low volume and dojis and everything. And on this candle, I was like, oh man, it's going to keep going. But then it fell down and it put in this hammer here. And I said, okay, now it's going to keep going. So I probably would have sold if I had bought this put, I would have sold it in here. I probably would have got scared out. And then if I still had gunpowder, I would have probably bought this call when it put in this hammer. Probably bought that call. This doji, I thought it was going to go down. I got really kind of super predictive in this region, which is not the way to be, but I had some good calls. This doji came in. I waited for the volume, and actually we can take a minute and examine this volume here because you can see that it's trending up, but the volume's not increasing. And then at the end of the trend on this doji, there's the same amount of volume, but it's a different move. There's not the same amount of move. So I said, all right, it's going down. And it did go down. And let's see, this candle, very small move compared to above average volume. And so I said, all right, it's going back up. And then right here on this small candle with a lot of volume, it's a small candle, but it's diminishing volume. And then we get this pulled down on strong volume. So I said, all right, that's the end. It's going down from there. And I was wrong. It trended back up. It broke high of day again, which is amazing. And then this candle here was high volume. I guess fading volume, sell off with an upper wick at all-time highs. I was like, no, it's going back down. And I happened to be correct for whatever that's worth. So, okay. Thanks for watching. I hope that this is helping you as much as it's helping me. And I will talk at you later. There's a bee in my house. Cool.